Hi everyone. Today I want to talk a little bit about accidentals. So far we've only talked about how accidentals act when they're on one staff. But what happens when you have more than one staff of music? Maybe it's a piece of piano music with a treble staff and a bass staff, or maybe it's an ensemble you want to play and there are more than two staves. How do accidentals work in those situations? Quick side note. When you have one staff of music, it's called a staff or a stave. When you have more than one staff, they're called staves. Staves is just the plural version of staff. One staff, many staves. You may hear me say staves a couple of times in this video, and I just wanted to make sure you know that terminology. Alright, let's get into it. Here we have a piano part with a treble and bass staff. And we can see in the first measure that there are a few accidentals in the treble staff part. Let's read through those note names so we can identify the accidentals. First we have G, then we have F sharp, because of the sharp accidental sign, then G, then G sharp, because of the sharp sign, A, G sharp, because the accidental carries through the measure, A, B, and C. Okay, so we have F sharps and G sharps in there because of the accidentals. Now, here is the rule for accidentals and more than one staff. Accidentals written in one staff do not apply to the music in any other staff. So if we go back to our example and see that we have F sharps and G sharps in the treble staff, we know that from the rule those accidentals should not apply to the bass staff. So if we look at our bass staff notes, we should have DGB on beat 1, CFA on beat 3, and CEG in measure 2. So even though we have F sharps and G sharps in the treble staff, those do not carry over into the bass staff. Now, here's what both parts sound like together. That was an example written for piano, but what if you have an ensemble you want to play where there are more than one player, and each player has a different staff to read from, like this? Here we have an ensemble of 3 players, and each of them have a treble staff. Let's go through each of the players and see which note they have written. Player 1 has an F sharp because of the sharp sign. Player 2 has an A, and player 3 has an F. Remember the rule for accidentals and more than one staff. Accidentals written in one staff do not apply to the music in any other staff. That is why player 1 has an F sharp, and that accidental does not apply to the music for player 2 or player 3. I hope this helped you with accidentals and multiple staves. Remember that the more you practice these concepts, the easier it will be to use them in the future. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to these Patreon supporters.